In the early morning hours of May 26, 2013, 3 tugboats were engaged in towing a large Chevron oil tanker in the Gulf of Guinea, situated approximately 32 kilometers off the Nigerian coastline. 2 of the tugboats were positioned alongside the enormous tanker to provide stability during the towing process. Meanwhile, the 3rd tugboat, known as the Jazz Cone 4, was positioned ahead of the tanker, connected to it by the main tow line. This tugboat was responsible for the actual towing. On board the lead tugboat, the Jazz Cone 4, a crew of 12 members was present. These crew members were employed by West African Ventures, a Nigerian-based company that owned and managed the ship. The crew had been hired to participate in the towing operation. Among the crew was Harrison Okene, a Nigerian native who served as the ship's cook. Around 4:45 a.m. that morning, Harrison was in his living quarters. The ship was experiencing significant swaying due to rough seas, prompting him to wake up. Although the rough waters were not uncommon, he decided to leave his quarters to investigate. Harrison noticed that all the other crew members' room doors were shut and locked, a safety measure adopted by the crew of the Jazz Cone 4 due to the prevalent threat of piracy. Undeterred by the ship's movements, Harrison proceeded down the hallway towards the bathroom. As he navigated the hallway, struggling against the ship's violent rocking, he eventually reached the bathroom and closed the door at 4:50 a.m. However, at that very moment, a rogue wave struck the Jazz Cone 4, causing it to capsize almost completely. The impact severed the tow line, and the ship began sinking rapidly. In a state of panic, Harrison attempted to open the bathroom door against the oncoming surge of water. Despite his efforts, the force of the water was overpowering, and he found himself pushed into the bathroom. Moments later, the ship's inversion caused him to be standing on what was now the ceiling of the hallway. The situation was dire as the ship continued to sink. Harrison witnessed 3 crew members attempting to escape from their locked rooms in a panicked rush towards the exit. Tragically, another surge of water engulfed them through a window, sweeping them away to their demise. As the power cut out, another surge of water surged down the hallway towards Harrison. He managed to twist his body, allowing him to open the door and be propelled into a nearby bathroom. Now, inside an officer's bathroom, Harrison's instincts drove him to swim upwards in search of air. He surfaced in complete darkness, his head in a pocket of air within the bathroom. The ship's sinking persisted, leaving Harrison in this precarious situation. Clad only in his boxer shorts and devoid of light, food, or water, he clung to the small pocket of air, awaiting its potential collapse. Facing what he believed were his final moments, Harrison recollected a prayer that his wife had sent him before he embarked on this job. With the ship sinking in darkness all around, he silently recited the prayer in his mind, preparing himself for the end. The ship ultimately struck the ocean floor, but the air pocket miraculously held, sparing Harrison from its collapse. In this confined space, Harrison found himself in a precarious situation, clinging to survival within the dwindling air pocket as the ship lay on the ocean floor. Within the small air pocket, situated about 30 meters beneath the ocean's surface, Harrison faced an immediate challenge after surviving the shipwreck. Despite the inexplicable survival, he was now confronted with the grim reality that his air supply was limited, and he faced multiple threats: dehydration, exposure to freezing waters that reached up to his neck, and the ominous presence of sharks and other marine creatures drawn by the sinking ship were all factors that increased his vulnerability. Adding to his vulnerability, Harrison was positioned in a bathroom with the door open, leaving him fully exposed to any wildlife that might venture into the ship's interior. This alarming scenario left him anxiously awaiting his fate, his helplessness magnified by the lack of control he had over the situation. As time passed, Harrison's initial feeling of coldness escalated into the threat of hypothermia. He realized that his only chance of survival lay in finding a way to elevate his upper body out of the water within the air pocket. Although his prospects appeared bleak, his determination to stay alive remained strong, compelling him to take action. Beside him was the officer's room, and an open door presented an opportunity. He contemplated swimming through the door into the room with the intention of finding supplies to construct a makeshift raft. His will to live intensified as he heard the unsettling sounds of sea creatures ramming against the ship, seeking entry points. Sharks were among these creatures, causing Harrison's fear to escalate. Despite the risks, he decided to dive into the pitch-black water and swim into the officer's bedroom. With each trip, he retrieved sections of paneling, gradually constructing a rudimentary raft that would elevate him partially out of the freezing water. His efforts yielded unexpected rewards. In the officer's room, he discovered a bottle of soda and a flashlight. These discoveries offered a glimmer of hope and some respite from his dire circumstances. Over the course of approximately 24 hours, he nursed the soda and relied on the flashlight for light. Harrison's newfound sense of hope was met with fresh challenges. His flashlight suddenly went dark, plunging him into total darkness once again. Simultaneously, he heard the disturbing noises of large sea creatures entering the officer's room nearby. The precariousness of his situation intensified as he realized the proximity of these creatures and his inability to defend himself. Sharks, which had already consumed his fellow crew members, were now tantalizingly close. For the following 36 hours, Harrison endured a harrowing trial. He listened as sharks brushed against the walls of the ship, their presence a constant threat. Despite the overwhelming fear, he managed to remain hidden from their predatory instincts. Amidst these agonizing hours, he grappled with the constant fear that his air pocket might collapse at any moment. Around the 60-hour mark, a new sound reached Harrison's ears, a metallic banging against the exterior of the ship. An unexpected glimmer of light caught his attention from down the hallway, a phenomenon that stood out in the otherwise pitch-black environment. Without hesitation, he swam toward the light source, driven by the possibility of rescue. He ventured into the hallway, braving the shark-infested waters he had avoided for so long. As his air supply dwindled, Harrison's determination intensified. Though he struggled to find the source of the light and questioned its reality, he persevered. However, his urgency forced him to return to his air pocket, moments away from running out of breath. Frustration and doubt engulfed him as he questioned whether the light was real or just a product of his imagination. An astonishing turn of events occurred. The rescue team's efforts had indeed reached Harrison's location, and the light he had seen was real. Through unwavering determination and a sheer will to survive, Harrison was finally discovered and rescued from his 60-hour ordeal in the sunken ship. A remarkable twist of fate unfolded when a diver, embodying a miraculous chance at survival, entered the scene. This diver was part of a team dispatched to the sunken ship's location with the mission of recovering bodies. Given the understanding that no one could endure underwater for 3 days, the diver commenced the underwater journey to fulfill the recovery operation. Aware of the impending diver's approach, Harrison recognized the likelihood of startling him. With a tender touch, Harrison lightly made contact with the diver's back. The diver's reaction was one of heightened alarm, anticipating an encounter with some form of aquatic life. In response, Harrison extended his hand and gently clasped the diver's, revealing his human presence. Illuminated by a prominent headlight worn by the diver, Harrison's face emerged from the abyss of complete darkness. The moment was profoundly moving as the diver gazed upon a man who had endured 36 hours of isolation in the absence of light, seemingly without any escape. Harrison's expression, a reflection of the ordeal he had survived, encapsulated a wealth of emotions that words could scarcely convey. The diver equipped Harrison with a diving mask, an essential step to ensure his safety during the ascent. However, Harrison's immediate return to the surface was not feasible due to the extended duration he had spent at depth. The need for decompression was imperative to prevent the potentially fatal consequences of sudden pressure changes. Consequently, Harrison was placed within a decompression chamber for a total of 60 hours, a process that was necessary before safely bringing him to the surface. Ultimately, Harrison emerged from this extraordinary ordeal physically unharmed. Yet the psychological trauma inflicted by this experience was of an exceptional magnitude. Even to this day, Harrison's wife attests to the profound impact on his psyche. Night after night, he awakens from sleep with the haunting sensation that he's once again aboard a sinking vessel, a testament to the enduring grip that this life-altering event has on his consciousness.